to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods live on camera and watch as things go kablooey. And last time we were working on possession as part of various oddities. That is a very useful utility function. For
POGGIES.
Hi Dusty, thank you for that. For a lot of things, including things like shapeshifting and such down the line. But for right now, it is still in a developmental stage, and it's getting close to a useful level, I think. But it occurred to me that probably a lot of the remaining development on it to get it to a useful level is kind of a bit dry. Probably not the most entertaining thing I could put on camera. So instead today, at the very least, I will be working on that off camera, quite probably. But instead today, we're going to be working on smaller things, little distractions and the like. And it occurred to me, I did ask my patrons specifically for ideas, but it occurred to me that there is something that people have been asking me to implement for quite some time, which will make this wall continue to be very imbalanced, but oh well, I chose this life, I guess. Which is to say, as I'm sure some of you have already guessed, we're going to be trying to work on wings today. Wings are a complex thing because you can, strictly speaking, have the flying ability of various oddities without actually having wings at all. So there was a question of, should wings be a functional cosmetic? In which case they're not really cosmetic. And if they're solely cosmetic, then why wear them? You probably won't get most of the use out of them, because then you'll just have to wear an elytra, and that'll probably conflict with their model and everything. It's just bleh. But today we're going to be trying to attempt to implement some wings. Now, there's obviously quite a lengthy list of the kind of wings we'd like to see. The first and most obvious is dragon wings, so that people can actually have, well, dragon wings, really. That sort of stuffs. Then we've got things like angel wings, or bird wings, effectively. I'm quiet? How am I quiet? That's interesting, because I'm maxed out. I wonder if my microphone has been muted again. How quiet am I, exactly? Or is it possible you've just hacked up your own sound settings? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, levels are full on my end here. But what I can do is dial this up. Lungs not quiet for a looker? Okay. I should be a little bit louder now, at the very least. Normal volume for gig? Yeah, it appears to be a Dusty problem. Get a can of air so you can clean out your speakers, I guess. Okay. So yeah, there's a ton of different, like, we've got devil wings, angel wings, dragon wings, I guess, are the kind of top three. Dragon and devil, I imagine, be more or less fairly the same, because they're frequently depicted as being like bats. Bats are like membranous, I guess would be the phrase. That sort of thing. Things that don't look like wings but function like wings are probably the easiest kind of wings to implement. A rocket pack, for instance. I don't know under what circumstance we'd use that, but a rocket pack is an obvious thing. Some kind of levitating platform, that sort of thing. Backing up Dusty here? Oh. Huh. Well, apparently half the chat thinks I'm quiet today, but I promise you I'm not being. But the problem that we have is that wings in Minecraft are exceedingly simple. And especially in the case of things like we have here, the Ender Dragon as well as the Phantoms. Those are the two major things that fly around. Their wings are designed to be in one specific pose. Namely, this flapping pose. And it's got a join around here, and a join there, and it just goes flippy flap. That is it. It is not designed to be folded. it is not designed to be in any other position than fully out. And if we have wings on players, we need to take into account a lot of different poses. So there's the flying pose, obviously. There's the pose when they're just standing, when they're walking around, when they're asleep, when they're lying down, when they're swimming. All of these things have implications for what different pose they should be and how they should look. CJ, hey, good to see you. And the coffee heads too. Hello. We are currently discussing how to model wings in Minecraft, by which I mean the literal modeling, as opposed to simulation, which would probably be even less interesting for me to describe to my viewers here. But yeah. So, in order to therefore meet the demands of having wings on a player, we pretty much cannot use any of the wings that Minecraft Vanilla has as a reference. There is maybe one exception to that, which is that we can have a multi-model object, effectively meaning that we have a model for when they are closed and a model for when they are out and open and flapping and such, and we just switch in between those two based on the pose that you're in. Which is... it's fine. It's not bad. But it could increase the amount of data that we have to have both live, because more models to have on file, and also inside of the texture map, because generally speaking, different models don't like to use the same textures. You can fudge it, but it's more hassle than it's worth quite frequently, so bleh. How do I do the witch's wings? I don't know that I have that mod available in my filings here. I don't think I do. Okay, next question. Do I have a screenshot of that? But TLDR, Dusty, the way I did the wings was not how I would prefer to do it in this mod. This mod is meant to stay fairly close to vanilla in terms of how it appears and such. So it's supposed to be that. You have a video of them working? Okay, that'd be a great reference. But yeah, the wings that I used in my return special for Minecraft videos and such were very complicated. Not in terms of implementation, but they had a lot of cubes to them. And if you want things to be fairly Minecrafty, they need to be relatively low on the cube count and such. Like, honestly, the kobolds are kind of pushing it. The kobolds are kind of pushing it. But they look nice, so we like them. The rats are probably closer to what Minecraft tends to go, and even then, I'm kind of pushing it with this tail. But they look nice, so yeah. It's like, honestly, everything needs to stay pretty simple. Like, this is basically 2 items and 3 cubes. That is it. The horses are, like, a decent example of the upper limit of number of cubes you should really be using in a Minecraft model. Even there, on the high ends. In fact, I think the Ender Dragon is one of the heaviest ones in terms of cubes, and that's mostly this tail. It's mostly that. But just like, she gets special license because she's a boss mod. So, yeah. Yeah, Dusty, if you have, like, footage of those wings, then by all means, grab it up and I will see. Oh, okay, right, this will be interesting to share. Can I? Nope. I may legit just have to, like, download this. Hot second. Because otherwise I would have to share my message history with Dusty. Which I feel would be unwise, somewhat. Okay, there it is. Let's bring this up. Now there are... Naturally, having wings is something that, Minecraft players have wanted for... At this point... decade. And we have a lot of reference there, but... You can spam the same word. No, leave it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. Bleh. Okay. So here we have the wings that I made for that particular mod. And as we can see, They are extremely articulated, and they're heavily animated. There is more or less a different cube for every pair of, for every like line of feathers in here. And they look real nice, but also I would probably I would probably like reanimate and remodel those heavily, which I probably will, so yeah. So let me see. Generally speaking, an interesting thing because they only move in 2 big chunks. Yes, the reason that they moved so much is so that they could fold without me having to have a second model. That's what happened back in the day. Got a way of recreating the animation. Well, yeah, generally they're more or less just 2 pieces. Effectively very much like how the Ender Dragon's wings work. But yeah, generally speaking, wings in Minecraft mods follow predominantly 1, but mostly 2 different ways that you can actually like make them, rendering and such. The first and absolute most common is that they're just 2 really big rectangles rendered off of your back. And maybe they change texture to when they're in like a closed position or some such, but most of the time they're just static. The real big offender on that one, or at least the one most recently known, I think. Can I find it? I think the wings from Britannia are maybe the best example of that. Okay, that's interesting. Didn't know that existed. Wing? Nope, not quite. That's butt. Okay, yeah, Flugel Tiara apparently bugs quite a bit. But yeah, they're basically just 2 rectangles with a texture on them. And that works fine, because it lets you get a lot of fine detail at the cost of having basically 0 actual animation whatsoever. So, you can make them actually like pulse like that, but you can't actually like alter them in much of any fashion. So these wings that are clearly like based on being feathery wings and such don't actually flex. And I think that is not horrific, but it's also not really good. Now, the more recent one that I have especially been like recommended so much since I started pondering how to actually do wings is these ones from the obviously eponymously titled Wings mod. And these wings, how do I put this? These wings are pure heresy. Because they have probably more cubes to them than the entire Ender Dragon, and they are intensely animated. Now, to their credit, they look damn good. They look really good. I honestly credit to the developer team who came up with these, because these are really, really, really well done. But they look so intensely out of place in the entirety of Minecraft. Literally nothing is as thoroughly animated and detailed as these wings. Nothing. So, like, it is absurd. They're substantially more animated and more like cube heavy than the wings that we just saw that I made earlier. So I personally hate this. This is terrible. This is a sin. Especially in regards to my ethos of trying to keep things fairly close to Minecraft. Because if it sticks out like a sore thumb, you immediately know it's a mod, and that's breaking some bounce, like some volume of your suspension of disbelief. And I prefer to keep things more tightly constrained so that they feel more at home and such. Like, you've never seen the rats before in vanilla Minecraft, but if you've never played Minecraft before, you'd almost never be able to tell that they weren't from vanilla Minecraft. That's the idea that I go with. If the wings are so well made, so high quality like that, then they make no sense inside of Minecraft. So, there's two major ways the wings are handled inside of Minecraft. The first, obviously, is the Ender Dragon. Let's boot that back up. Which is effectively a wing that's made of 2 points, and it is purely for flapping. It's not the worst thing imaginable. It's about as much animation as you theoretically need at any point in time. The second is chickens, parrots, and whatnot. For them, it is a single cube that does not flex at all, and it works admittedly best if it's just on the back, but we'll see, honestly. But yeah, so Ender Dragon and Phantoms both use that two cube per wing kind of model, whereas parrots and chickens both use the single cube, which is just one rectangle. So let me just summon chicken. Hello there. Make you quiet. You know AI. There. So yeah, this is how chickens work. Very simple. It's just one cube, well, one rectangular cube, constantly moving like that, and that's it. That is their wing. And when they're landed, it just has a different pose, in that it doesn't flap, so it's just along the side, like that. We can bring along a parrot as well. I would summon a phantom, but they will literally burn alive even if they're no AI. So yeah. As we can see, parrots have the same thing. They are slightly different. We can see their entire body is bobbing as they're flapping, and their wings are hinged at a different point. It's right there, as opposed to being more or less just along that axis. You can really see how much animation changed at Mojang between the making of the chicken and the parrot. Like, for example, the parrot stays mostly the same when they're flapping, but as you can see, their body moves up and down, and their legs actually tilt backwards. Whereas the chickens... Chicken don't care. So... The parrots have better wings than the chickens do? Yeah, because there's more, like, dynamism involved here. They're making better use of what few cubes they have. Chickens' wings aren't even connected? Nope. You can see it. The actual, like, articulation point is like a pixel or so away from the body. They also fly better. They fly pretty much identically. They will move around in midair, which chickens don't do, but they more or less are using the same nav system. Phantoms, I would say, are probably... Bearing in mind the Ender Dragon was an isolated case, Phantoms are probably the closest, I would say, to a true flying navigation. But yeah. Let's see if I actually can. See if I'm misremembering Phantoms. No. But we can at least see you're flapping. There we go. So you can see we got 2 cubes there, and there's pieces attached to those cubes. These are just literally 2 rectangles with a fancier texture over them. The Ender Dragon's wings are actually 2 parts. Like that. Bye-bye. I guess I could make them invulnerable, but I think they would still be on fire. So... It's just so hard to keep a phantom alive these days, you know? Oh well. So that is our main reference. And I think the theoretical ideal is somewhere in between these, or possibly using both of them. So we use the singular rectangles for when they're folded away, when we're just hanging out on your back, that kind of thing, and then we switch to this kind of 2 cube piece for whenever they're actually in motion, that kind of thing. For those curious, when you are using an elytra, you are... You're still a single cube. Can I actually get to fly here? Let's find out. There we go. You're still a single cube. There's no real motion other than the transitional period between being open and being closed. That is it. And it's very simple. It's not necessarily a system we don't. It's not necessarily a form of wing we don't want to use. But it is very simple. Like, it is literally just 2 cubes. Like, this is less detailed than even the Phantom's wing. Which is a little weird, if you think about it, because we ostensibly need Phantom membranes to repair the Elytra. Then again, the existence of Elytra in Minecraft is by itself a strange mystery, because there is absolutely no grounding for why it's there. Why do we find these things? Why are they always inside of the end on, like, boats? Why are there boats in the end? The one place though there's no water. It can only be weird if it was the Nether, but at least the Nether actually has, like, actual lakes. I think the end used to have giant bugs. Are those bugs also somehow related to the Phantoms? Anyways, we're gonna try and implement at least one. Don't worry about the Elytra, they are not parasitic at all, it's fine. Sure. We're gonna try and implement at least one form of wing. And hopefully we can make it work. The big 3 all have more or less the same anatomy to them. The demon, dragon, and angel kind of thing. They all have basically the same anatomy to them in terms of modeling. So that is to say, we need a flapping motion when they're out, that kind of thing, and we need some kind of means of closing them up. I guess another thing we could do is like the gargoyle. Like literally, I'm not thinking of the D&D monster, but like literally gargoyle wings. Let's see, can I get a picture of what I'm actually referring to? Cape, will that do the trick? There we go. That's as good as I'm getting. Yeah, so the gargoyles from the cartoon series Gargoyles have effectively dragon/demon type kind of wings. They're membraned, that kind of thing. They're very bat-like, that sort of stuff. But when they're not in like their flight mode, they're actually folded up in like this cape that just got like hooked over themselves like that. That'd be a neat thing to have, I think. But that's a little bit more complicated. That theoretically means we'd have to have a completely separate model for that. But it's an idea. It's an idea. But okay, let's get started here, shall we? Before I completely talk my way out of this. Okay. Going to want item wings, I guess. Extend that out of our cosmetic. And in theory, this is mostly just a modeling concern. Everything else is fairly straightforward. Common accepted lore is that the wings are made of dragon wings, hence why the ships always have one dragon head and one elytra. Despite the fact they look nothing like the Ender Dragon's wings, and are named for part of an insect. Just saying. Okay, I think most of this we can just clone largely direct from, like, tails and such. We definitely do want this to be dyeable, I think. Like most body cosmetics, what's the point if you don't have the capacity to color it your own? Texturing is one thing, modeling is another, but being able to dye things is a fairly acceptable standard, I think, to have. Common accepted lore. I have literally never heard that once. Well, from the resident end expert, I guess. Okay, so then there's the colors, the models, and the textures. Yep. Which must be client-side, or else the servers will crash. And I've made that mistake before, so shut up. I should more or less have just cloned tails. It was saved me some time. And everything, we've got no issues. Some unused here, but that's fine. And I will clone the overlay section as well. Just in case we want to have wings that have some parts that are always the same. There. Okay. That should be basically everything. Yep, right. What am I gonna start with? Butterfly wings, I guess. Those are fairly straightforward. Butterflies do fold their wings, though. Like the standard that we think of is like just effectively two rectangles moving, but they do fold them, so they're actually more like four. Like that shape there is the same as this shape or this shape. It's just that this top piece is like folded in a bit more. So do we want to have 2 or 4 cubes in butterfly wings? Also, by God, I just realized there are so many butterflies that there's not... I don't think there's a generic butterfly pattern I could put on a wing. Oh. I guess something like this? I don't know what... I don't know what particular species of butterfly this is, if anyone knows. But it is very much what I... like the kind of thing I think of when I'm thinking of a butterfly. This is very familiar to me. Monarch butterfly? Is that it? That seems unlikely because I feel like I feel like I have not had many opportunities to see monarchs in my lifetime, but maybe it's a subspecies that's very common in the UK or something. But yes, we can have something like this texture, and as we can see, it is in fact 4. Lepidopterans? I'm not sure. Seeing them planting, you're just British. Not likely. I mean, England is a place that has very little wildlife because we kind of murdered most of it. They're mostly USSA? Okay. Okay then, we'll go with butterfly wings as our start. So public static class item wings butterfly extends. Now, here is the question. If I extend from the default, the whole thing will get dyed. If I extend from the overlay version, parts of it will always be the same, and then there'll be just portions of it that gets dyed. So, how do we want this? There's no subsets, is there? Okay. Like, the white speckles, do you want those to be dyed? The black will be basically black, regardless. They're also around in the UK, and I just got unlucky. As I say, I'm fairly certain I have seen many a butterfly like this, but I've always heard it that, monarch butterflies are, like, really rare, and seeing them in, like, especially large quantities is, like, really lucky, that kind of thing. Orange Cypher Monarch Ender Pearl to do a butterfly with eye spots? Yeah, we can always, like, add different crafting recipes for stuff. But yeah, we'll start with this, because it seems like the easiest for us to do with one model. And I guess for the moment I'm just gonna keep it, everything is dyed in one. Population's getting lower? Or is it? Oh. I shouldn't be so surprised. I'm living in a climatological nightmare. Why on earth would there not be things getting, like, less populous in my lifetime? Seeing monarchs during recess? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and the model is where things get complicated. We have so many models here, purely related to baubles. That's all these are. Okay. Model wings butterfly. Extending from biped model. For living entity. Technically, only players can actually wear baubles, but on the off chance a mod actually includes that capacity in something else, we'll make sure we actually roll for it. Okay. So, just starting off, we'll just have an item. Baubles? Yeah. I call them baubles out of habit. These are, strictly speaking, curios. I think curios is made by the same person as made baubles back in the day. But heck if I know. I should be running my D&D game, but not a live stream, but you can do both. Okay, and let's add that to our item tags. Back seems like the most obvious place to put them, doesn't it? I don't recall if I fixed the thing in here for data generation. Let's find out. Yep, there we go. What's the problem? Cannot pass argument assets of option assets directory. I seem to recall there's a duplicate there. Yeah. Nope, still got a problem. Directory assets does not exist. Pardon? Well, here's a bug I gotta fix. Real quick. Check the spell. No. It won't be that. It'll be something related to... It'll be something related to how we updated Forge. Because a fair bit of Gradle and such is still hicked up from doing that. Optional argument conversion exception. Okay. Assets. Does not appear to exist. What do you mean, assets? boot up the wheelchair workspace, because that should definitely have it working. This is why I pretty much just create a workspace with a given version of Forge and just never change it. Anything in here that appears to be named assets? I don't think so. Nope. Okay. A lot more stuff in here than I remember. Oh god, yes. So many more arguments in the virtual machine. Okay. Like, so much. Oh boy. How much would it hurt me to just clone this? Probably quite a bit. If I had to take a wild guess. The program arguments appear to be basically identical. Okay, it's mainly the virtual machine arguments I can see are very different. Is there an easier way for me to do this? To be clear, I have run DataGen here, yes, because all the recipes are here and those are auto-genned, so I know that much. So, Gen Eclipse runs, I guess, could do the trick, probably. We'll find out in a hot second, I guess. When I get into command line stuff. Give it a moment. Gotta awaken the demon, you see. That's what that line means. Single-use demon, so, you know, we release them when we're done. It's not a very high-class demon, so it fails quite frequently. Yeah, right there. Right there. At least it told us where it failed, so let's see, line 16. Right here. The part where we tell it to use Forge. Are you kidding me? Oh boy. Gradle version 7.3.1. Versions of Gradle 6.0 and you are not supported in that. Okay. What version is wheelchair listed as? Ah, there we are. 5.1 plus, apparently. To be clear, I know basically heck all about how this build Gradle works, because it is not documented pretty much at all. So everything else here should hopefully be fine. So let's summon the demon again. Now our dependency is listed as a later version of Gradle, so that should hopefully wake it up. I think I saw a tweet fairly recently that was like, computers aren't magic, they just do exactly what you tell them to. And then, like, more recently, Yeah, the first thing you do with computers is never tell them your true name. Which, hey, I can sympathize with that. Could not find method compile for the arguments. Sponge powered mix in 0.82. Okay. Line 143. At least it's telling us. Should be around the same here. 0.8, 0.5. Yeah. A computer's designed by the Fae. No, but that's what I love about it. Is that by sheer just by sheer accident, they've begun to resemble the Fae. I love that. It's like, yes, they only do exactly what you tell them to do, but because they only do exactly what we tell them to do, they have the Fae kind of view of contracts and such. And if you give them your true name, it is actually meaningfully dangerous because everything is looking for that. I love it. Okay, that's the one thing I need right now. So effectively, I need that. 8.5. Will that survive? Who knows? Certainly not me. Is that gonna help our demon here? I actually don't know why it's called demon. Like, I've never heard anyone explain to me why that is. Like, for the same reason, I don't think I've ever heard anyone explain why it's called a kernel. Not like a military kernel, like literally like a popcorn kernel. Kernel. A lot of things in computers have extremely weird names. Bugs, for instance. Does anybody in chat know why it's called a bug? Anybody know why, when we go through our code and we find a thing that is working on it as not as intended, not at all, we call it a bug? Little insects are in your code. Dusty, you're actually not far off. The very first bugs inside of computers were literal. There were things like moths and such that would fly in and short the wiring, causing unintended operation. Okay, that's succeeded. Hooray! So, yeah, if I refresh this, go to run data. Is this gonna complain now? To die being baked to death by a 1960s computer. Ah, a little earlier than that. This was from like the 1940s.
Well, here's the sweet shop's answer.
Anyways, we will find out if this has actually succeeded. Oh, had a problem with the Gradle again. Oh boy. We'll find out if I can manage to fix this in about 10 minutes when I get back from my break. So go grab yourselves a drink, go grab yourselves a snack, take your meds if you need them, stretch if you need to, that sort of thing, and I will see you shortly. Hello. Welcome back, everybody, and just following off of our little discussion there right before we went to break, here is the first reported ever computer bug. It was a literal moth, in Relay 70 of Panel F. Just neat. Okay. So, we have managed, after some tinkering there, to get our wings into the data here. We do now have 46 different warnings, owing to a lot of things being deprecated or thinking they are duplicates when there isn't anything there for them to actually be a duplicate of, but it's there. So, we hop in here, we should be able to see that we now have a butterfly wings item. It will not be named, it will not have an item model, it will not have a texture of any kind, but it should at least be something. So, let's start with that, shall we? Let's see, props, right there, good. And it is for the right slot as well. And, yep, it's a start. Obviously, it's not wings, but that's the next step. So, yeah. Now we need to break open Technique. Ancient little program, but it is nonetheless still quite handy for making stuff. And I'm not even sure it's still like being updated and such. Okay, let's start with a biped, just so we can get some degree of an idea, and we'll go with 64, which is human player size. Okay, here is the Steve. The default Steve, much like the default cube in Unity. So, okay. Now we definitely want these to be hinged at the back of the body. So, let's see, and these, I think that butterfly wings can get away being 2D. So, we'll just reduce that. Let's move their position to be right along the back there. And we'll offset them to the left and right. I'm going to do that with the actual position piece. There we go. About, I think 1.5 should do it. Okay. And let's see, for size, I think the full size of the full thing needs to be something akin to that. It won't be exactly like that, because we're going to break this into 2 pieces, but nonetheless, something like that. Okay, let's lift it up a step. Yep. Call this is on the left side, so wing left A, I guess. Wing left upper. Semi-immaterial. And we will copy and paste that for wing left B. Over there. Okay, so that's the start. Now the wings on a butterfly are, well, they're a lot more flexible than ours are going to be, but crucially, they are 2 things overlapping one another. We need to be a little bit careful when it comes to overlapping, because when you do that inside of computer programming, especially when there's a completely 2-dimensional object, we get this called Z-fighting. And Z-fighting is what happens when you see like 2 textures trying to occupy the same space and flickering in between, especially based on how your camera's oriented. Looks bad, in short. So we're going to try and avoid that. We'll do that by slightly offsetting things, just slightly further out when we make the B portions of these. Oh, and that should be wing right A, not wing left B, my mistake. There. Just the one thing, that's why. So let's bring this part at the very least in a few steps. Make it lower. Look it to down there. And then we can just make this shorter. Let's bring that to about there, so there is some overlap at the moment. And then, let's say about 1.6 should suffice there. Okay. What I could do is just make these 2-dimensional, just make these actually 3D, but it's not a huge concern at this exact moment. So as long as these have the same the same angle with regards to, I believe this will be the yaw. They'll be effectively directly aligned with one another, which means they'll effectively work like one. But I can do things like that, for instance, and then they are overlapped without actually Z-fighting, which is again a horrible thing to see. And we won't be keeping them like this, but okay. Right B. Let's be negative 1.6 and 2, so it's actually aligned with the back. And let's see. 7. There. There's that. And that wants to be 6. There. Do I need to worry about this rotation point? I don't think I do. I think that's good, as long as, more or less, as long as my rotations are always going towards the negatives here. Meaning, as long as it's always, as long as they only ever fall down rather than up, that should be fine. Okay, let's position these actually on our texture now. So there's our A texture. And the standing principle is the left side is always mirrored. I think in theory I can actually just plonk them like this. Here. There we go. There's a look at our wings. Yeah, good I think. Okay, let's get these actually into our model. And wing lift A. Has the rotation point. 1.5 F, 0 F, 2 F. Which puts it at the back and slightly offset from the center of the spine. Let's see, this needs to be 0F, minus 1F, 0F, 0, 7, 12. And if we wanted to be fairly simplistic, we could also just attach wing left B to this. Oh, and I've got a little trick. Let's see. Ooh, very well caramel. Thank you very much. So I have added that, and I think one other channel point reward. so that it's not just making me exercise all the goddamn time. Speaking of... Okay, that is the top parts of the wings implemented, so I will do my exercise. Does chat mind awfully if I do the stretching first? Quick question. That just seems like a healthier option. Dusty says go for it? Okay, right. Especially if you're sitting at a computer your basically entire life. Oh, I sound like a bit of gingerbread. Okay. Nice and limber. Right. 20 squats. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There we go. I don't know if I could make a New Year's resolution to be exercising more, but that's most up to you guys. So, play. Alright. So there's our upper wing segments. So now we need to import the lower wing segments, and then tell the model that it needs to render them, and then animate them. Fairly straightforward, we hope. Things are really so straightforward. Okay. I could simplify things by adding them as a child, by which I mean a descendant, meaning that wing left B would inherit all the positioning and rotation and whatnot of wing left A, but that would mean that it would like tilt exactly as wing left A did in all directions, not just the one we care about. So we are having it as its own thing. Quite why headwear is part of the body parts, I don't know, but it is. Does this accept no arguments? Yes, it does. Good. And empty list. Okay, that's fine. Alright. That should mean we now have an untextured thing that is nonetheless about right for the moment. And the next step is animation. Again, this is the simplest wing form that I could think of. So this is not going to be entirely representative of the greater struggles that we'll have down the road. With angel, dragon, and whatnot wings. But it's a start. This is probably the only wing type I can think of that can more or less both flap and fold without us having to have an entire separate model. Okay, so yep, they're now called butterfly wings, and they look to be perfect. Very good. Okay. You can see they're slightly offset, which means they shouldn't Z-fight under any circumstances. So now we just need to get the value effectively for are we flying currently, in order to actually have them be in their proper animation. And I also need to go to one of our existing models to actually get the animation, frankly. I think our tails are the closest I have to something that'll be affected by that. Crouching, swimming, full flying, sleeping, and such. Yeah, that should be a good start here. So, how do we want these to be? Can we look at the model for a phantom? Left wing. Assumes basically that you're always flying. Not dreadfully surprising there. How about Elytra? Is there a model for that? Yes, there is. So if they're flying, normalize. If they're crouching, check parrot. Parrots are, I would guess, less useful as well. Yeah, flying and on shoulder have the exact same thing. Abstract client player entity rotate Elytra X. Oh. That's interesting. Fascinating. May have to look into that at some point. Anyways, full flying is the pose. I think swimming is the same pose as when you're like under like a piston or something, if you're in a one tall space. So full flying is the main thing that we are concerned with. In which case, that'll be the point where we actually want our wings to be flip-flapping, the 90-degree arc. Do I have 45 degrees already now? Just standing? Nope, I don't. Let's see here. If you're lying down, I feel like lying down, sleeping should be different from swimming. But I'm not exactly sure how. I think in the case of swimming, we just break. We just don't have any special animation there. Or actually, we just put that as the same default ones. Flattens the body makes sense for sleeping. And our default will be let's have a look here. Something like 10 degrees, I think. Alright, so that represents our default. That... Lying runs... Oh? Dusty is fervently trying to convince me to redeem our little treat. Lang runs out of little treats because Dusty redeems them all. Aww. Wouldn't that be nice? It'll never happen. Okay, so we don't have the flying animation just yet, but we do have animations for crouching, for sleeping, and for swimming and just standing. So let's see if our thing actually does work. Must I, Dusty? Okay. Ow. That's the... Like, exercise is one thing. That is the only channel point reward I have that literally hurts me. Aha. Right. I see how this goes. You're rewarding me for inflicting pain upon myself. How very Pavlovian of you. Okay, so there we are. Oop, there's definitely a problem there. They are right, they're just not actually bolted to the body. And it looks like the B parts aren't being animated either. Yes, right. Wing left A, wing right A. Ah, yes, I see. Accidentally called the same parts. Oh, which means I've also got the same problems down here, because I did the same... I just cloned it, didn't I? Hopefully I can fix that quite simply. The body isn't actually rendered, so it doesn't mind too much. And this time I get a twisted creme egg. Thank you, Dusty. Look, sometimes butterflies get all kinds of hecked up inside the chrysalis, okay? Actually, that's a thought. I wonder if I should make a pupa block or a chrysalis block of some description. Okay. That's better. Body isn't animating properly, but wings are definitely there. And that feels like it's not quite right. That's because swimming is the same thing. Oh, that's just the texture, that's fine. So sleeping is when you're horizontal on your back. Swimming is when you're forwards. And that is our default pose. So I probably want that to be more so actually, like, wider. A two-finned shark. Yes, the rare two-finned shark. I think because we're rendering the wings individually, they're rendering at their global position rather than their local position, which is where the body is. So we can fix that by just placing the body entirely. Calling the super. That should mean the body gets animated properly, and then our wings are rendered in their proper locations. Stop shrimping? I'm not shrimping. That's a thing I keep telling Fuzz to like avoid, but I am not. I am good. Yeah, haha, not this one. This wrist does not bend as much. Because this wrist got straight up done in by Overwatch, actually. I played Overwatch with too much fervor, and it hacked my wrist. I should actually be on like some degree of physiotherapy for this, but then the pandemic happened, so. Anyways. I think in that case we want to go down here and we can actually get this up here. I'm gonna more or less clone that, but have our Y angles be wider. Can't believe Hanzo Overwatch himself gave Lion Carpal Tunnel. I want to say it was. I didn't play many actual shooters in that game. I think might have been Moira. Heck if I remember. It's been a while. Okay. What is a good angle here? 45 degrees, maybe? Maybe a bit more than that? I think more. More like 60, maybe. Surprising absolutely nobody lying healer moments. You say that, I played Moira more aggressive than that would imply. Yeah, I think 60 for the swimming part. I could theoretically break this down into, like, upper wing X, that sort of thing. That'd probably be a lot more straightforward. If I grouped these into different arrays, that'd be even easier, actually. No, because I would ideally need like a 2x2 grid. Let me see, what were my main characters? I played Reaper, Reinhardt. I was quite good at Reinhardt. Pharah. I was pretty decent at Pharah. Bastion and Orisa. I didn't get to play Bastion as much, but I loved playing Orisa. She was very good. And I think my favorite character of the lot was probably Moira. I really liked Bastion, but I think overall I preferred Moira. Anyways, before I go in over the top, trying to actually 100% this. Let's see if we've managed to fix some of the animation here. Now my chat is fighting about short people versus tall people dominance. The one thing I always like to know, I always like to know when it comes to short versus tall, is that you could kick me in the face, but I could uppercut you in the nuts. Okay. Oh. Well, they're moving, but they're not rotating, I note. That's interesting. Okay, how does this look though? Yeah, that looks a bit better, I think. They're not poking about the ground as well. It's like everybody gets real quiet when you know that you can uppercut their junk. Okay, that is good. We do need to figure out why we're not getting a 45-degree incline here. I could just hard-code that. But I would prefer not to. Living animations, yes we do get. Do we have anything else that appears on the back? I don't think so. Oh, we do have, like the insect body bulb thing at the back. I forget what it's called. Well, the tails, I think, probably. Ant. Yes, we added to that. I wonder. Is the rotation point relevant there? What's the rotation point default to? Doesn't appear to be instantiated by default, actually. Interesting. I think that's good, though. I think this is fine. Oh! No, I'm an idiot, that's why. It's because we were originally using get body parts to get all of the wing parts, but then we changed that to only have the body, so now it's just resetting the angles of the body. Aha! That was the bug. I'm a moron. Welp. There we go. That should fix that now. And the last thing we need to actually, like, position, rotate, whatever, is the actual flapping for when you're in the air. Now, in theory, animating these so that they switch from state to state would make them look a lot smoother and in theory, a lot more wing-like. Downside is that's kind of tricky as hell, and more or less the only part of a player, especially that actually like smoothly animates like that between states, is the Elytra. And it has values for that inside of the player, so it's not likely. There we go. Now our wings are actually responding to us. Good. Yeah. Okay. Butterfly Steve. They're not massive wings, I'll grant you that, but they work. Okay. So now the flapping parts. Now, I think the obvious is to just clone whatever's going on with probably the chickens and the parrots, given that these are technically single, so it should be all we need. So let's see, that would be... the chicken will be the best one for that. Wing, wing, wing. Agent ticks, really? Interesting. Rotate angle Z, agent ticks. I guess the agent ticks only ticks up for them when they're flying? That doesn't make any sense at all. Is this referenced outside of her? Nope. Okay. Yeah, they're all private. Interesting. Z angle would be the angle where they rotate on. That's fascinating. Okay, so then... chicken renderer? Oh boy. Oh, that's so much worse. Why? Why is this a thing? Oh. Yeah. Oh. Why not just put that in the... How very strange. How very strange. Okay, well, it should just be a straight... It should be fairly obvious what the value is here. Okay. So the only thing we need to change is the Y angle. So floats, flap, I guess. Call that 0 for the moment. In fairness, chickens were kind of one of the first mobs added, so I can't besmirch them too much. I will, but I can't. Okay. So, what will it be? Limb swing him out? Yeah, that sounds about right. This will not be correct, but it'll be a start. myself the flyability in this dev space, so I'm just going to settle for using Elytra for the moment. Okay, well that is... they're definitely flat. So that's something. But they're purely flat. Okay. Petition for a lying wiggle emote if you wanna get like uni or something to actually like do it, then go for it. Let's try a limb swing real quick and then I'll take my last break for the evening. Ideally, if you have wing cosmetics, you also have a fly ability, but for the moment, we are presuming that two are not irrevocably linked. That's wrong, but it's not that bad, actually. Let's just go up a bit more. I kind of want it to be more like the arms and the legs there, the way that they actually like settle back to zero when you're in a full glide. But anyways, we will finish that off in about 10 minutes. So yeah, at the break. Right, everybody, welcome back to the final hour of our evening, and I think that basically this whole piece is how the arms and the limbs, effectively the extremities of Steve, wiggle and then level out on an actual thing when he's flying. However, it's occurred to me that it's actually a lot more natural for butterfly wings in particular to be constantly flapping. So, as far as I know, butterflies aren't known to glide very much. So, maybe they do. I don't know. I am not an entomologist. Would that be it? Lepidopterist? I don't know. I'm actually now curious. What class are butterflies? Real quick. Lion gets distracted moments. Or phylum, I guess? Yeah, Lepidoptera. So, strictly speaking, the study of butterflies would be lepidopterology? I think. Anyways. So yeah, I think it's actually fairly okay for these to be constantly flapping. We just have to make sure that it's actually, like, that it doesn't, like, cross over like that at any point. Which I'm fairly certain it was in our, like, initial test there. So, we need to modify limb swing in such a fashion that it's between 0 only and 1 only. Theoretically, I guess we go a little higher than that, but it's fine. So the next question I have is, what is the lowest, what are the peaks and the falls of limb swing? And the best way I can think to remember that is to just print it the hell out. Which is going to utterly flood my log here, but that's fine. Because nobody but me is going to see it. Literally, because I will remove this the second we find out what the values are. But yes, I'm not a lepidopterist, so I don't know if butterflies glide. I know I'm fairly certain, at the very least, that there are insects that glide, but I don't know if butterflies are among them. Butterflies tend to hover a lot, so I don't know. I don't know whether there is a hovering feature built into the flying ability, so I don't think they'll flap under those circumstances. That's maybe a thing I should account for, but not right now. Okay. Oh, and that's just that's just counting all of the ways up. Okay. So that is actually pretty much useless by that value. Okay, unless I fit it into a sign, I guess. But sign goes between -1 and 1, so we would need to +1 divide by 2. I think. What is the problem? From double to floats? Yes, let's... yeah. There. But yeah, knowing how the extremities of Steve move around under elytra gliding will definitely come in handy for more reasonable gliding kind of wings. Obvious examples being the top 3, effectively. Demons, dragons, and angels. Which certainly should prefer gliding over anything else. Also, thanks, Dusty. Now I have square bracket, all caps, poggies, close brackets in my log here. Okay, let's see how that goes. That looks pretty good to me. What do we think? Yeah, that looks pretty fine to me. I think. Do you want to call this the first wings that are fully feature complete? Well, apart from missing textures and whatnot. Which is the next thing. We can actually give them a texture. Try very slightly faster. Oh? Let's see, I can make them go faster by slightly increasing limb swing. Is limb swing yeah, it's a point. Okay. So multiply that by 1.1. That will increase the speed by about 10%. That's extremely fine detail, but... I feel like somebody mentioned a wiggle a lying wiggle emote earlier, and I'm trying to think of is there any form where that would work better as a static image as opposed to a GIF? Because animated emotes are a thing we have access to now. I could have an emote that wiggles. Speaking of, I should make like a lying G lurk that's just like the witch one, but it rises from the ground. Alright, that is 10% faster. What do we think? Is that good? I think that works. I thought that I also thought that was fine before, so it's weird having the elytra wings involved as well, but yeah. Looks slightly more synced and natural. I mean, they are synced either way, but yeah. Okay. I also tidied this up, so we only actually have to set 2 values, and that sets the whole array. Okay, right. Let's get our texture in. Okay, so there's the only parts we actually care about. Export that texture map. We can just dump that to the texture there for the moment. Wings, butterfly.png. Open up Gleeps. Synced with Steve? Oh, if I wanted it to be synced with Steve, that'd be like no problem. The thing is that I don't really care. In this particular instance, I feel like Steve's flailing is irrelevant to the function of these particular wings. In the more glide like the flap and glide kind of oriented wings, like the dragon ones, that makes more sense. But I think it looks good. Oh boy, can you tell what I was texturing last? 32 by... 32 by 16 is actually, like, a decently small size. Okay, and let's invert. Actually, one of these is always going to be full light. I can't remember which, though. Well, just invert that. Over right there. Tell the resources it exists. And that will give us some texture. The texture will be Z-fighting with itself. Because two-dimensional has... A two-dimensional object has no space between the left and the right here. But should be fine. Particularly because now that the texture is there, I can just modify it, refresh the resources, F3 and T, and then we'll see the changes real time inside of Minecraft. So. Did I name that wrong? What's the texture we're looking for? Wings Butterfly Monarch. Aha. That's fine. We're now in the resource back territory of things, so. Why is everything red? And it should be only top parts are red. Because I didn't tell the model what the size of the texture is, that's why. That part I do have to reboot for. There we go. Let's see, looks like this is the left. It's a weird looking texture right now, I know, but... we have ourselves a Butter Steve. Butter what? Anything Butterface. That's a very old bad joke, wow. Dating myself with that one even. Flutter Steve? Yeah, well, that works better. Sounds a bit more like a My Little Pony reference, but yes, Butter Steve. Okay, I think we want to get rid of Dark Arch. Just nice bright wings. Okay. Let's see what we can start to do to make these look a bit more like wings. Okay, so the lettering is actually on the inside. Good. Butterfly wings at that. I am not I am not in fact the world's greatest pixel artist, so bear with me. You think I am? You are wrong, then. Intensely wrong. I feel like when you're shifting like that, like when you're sneaking, there should be maybe a little bit of wiggle to them. I almost feel like I need to tilt these down slightly. The lower wings should be tilted slightly down when they're spread like this. That's not bad by itself. The red part should go up more? Define up more. I feel like I'm setting myself up for a joke there. What's up more? Nothing much. What's up more of you? Okay, quick look at what monarch wings actually look like. And that's at these parts. Too strong? What do you mean? like too high saturation? Because on that I agree with you, but these are literally just test colors for the moment. We're not, in fact, keeping the red and blue currently. They definitely look like butterfly wings. I got that going. Oh, 20 squats redeemed. Oh boy. Give me a mo. Okay, it's actual monarch wings are more like a deep amber kind of color. Close that now. That's fine. Yeah, I think I could probably do with making these parts tilt down more when the wings are unfurled. In which case, we need to only change up the wing X value here. Can I do that in a very simplistic way? Color is a bit strong, but these are butterfly wings. Oh, hi, Gig. I think more or less any time where the wings aren't at just their like standing position, it should be a bit lower. So that looks good to me. Okay. And when I want to do the overlay version of this, I'll just have a texture that's basically just the wing shape and whatnot, and then the pattern, and then that will be the part that gets dyed. As it is right now, the whole thing gets dyed. So I need to find out what the default value should be. And Minecraft uses decimals, so let's find out. Default color, therefore, is that. This is going to look funky. to begin with. Just putting it out there. There's gonna be a get deep color there you are. There. Okay. So the part that gets dyed is the base part, which means we get rid of these. And then we grayscale that. Just like that. Okay. So, let's see, there's one more little tweak we wanted to make, which is when you are crouching, we want to add a little bit of wiggle. Just a little bit of wiggle. So plus or minus 5 degrees should be a little bit of wiggle there when you are crouching, which I guess you can call a fret display or showing off. I don't know. The idea of a butterfly having a fret display is amusing, but then no one expects the butterfly. No one ever suspects the butterfly. Yeah, there we go. Just a nice little bit of wiggle to it. Looks nice. Looks good. Very cute. I like it. Okay. Let's see. I can make this a little better, though. Just a smidge better. darkening that. Every time a butterfly flaps its wings, a storm is formed half a world away. I know that old story, but also it is a complete myth because butterflies cannot impart enough energy into the atmosphere to cause that to happen. By the time the energy reaches like the upper side of the world or whatever, it is very, 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 very zero. Yeah, there's our butterfly wings, everybody. And I should be able to dye these. Just dye rose, let's have a look. Okay. Yep, there we go. Cyan butterfly wings now. Hooray! Okay. Yeah, I think those turned out quite nicely. And they animate under all the correct circumstances. Huzzah! So let me plunk these wings onto our board. There's still a few things here I need to texture. It's mostly legs, I think. But, yeah. Hooray. We got butterfly wings. And if I get the ant body, or either the ant body or the dragonfly body. I suppose dragonfly would be a variant of this, wouldn't they? I didn't have that part turned off, that's why. I think dragonfly works a bit better for this particular costume. Let's color that black or cyan. What color is the abdomen of? It's a very deep red. Let's call it blue then. Yep, there we go. I like how we accidentally Steve's actual body there. I guess we know where they got the values for these colors from. Yes. Flutter Steve. There we go. Just gonna see if I can get a nice screenshot of that real quick. There we go. So yeah, I imagine a dragonfly would be very similar to this model, but it would have much larger wings. And they would also not be moving in... they probably wouldn't be moving identically, they'd probably be moving like forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, that kind of thing. It's a thing for me to think about later. And of course I do still need to use Electra, because I don't actually have a flight ability in this world. I'm not sure if it would work. But yeah, that's pretty close to a dragonfly. At least as close as butterflies can get, I guess. I do like the little flutter. The little flutter is a really nice touch. Okay. I obviously need to add them to cosmetic, I think. Because right now they only go in your back slot. They should also be cosmetics, of which we have a lot, as we can see. Other than that, and needing an actual, like, item model properly. I think they're good. I think they're good. So insect wings, definitely the easiest to implement, because they don't, well, they can fold. Beetles and such have their wings fold entirely away, but the majority of them just, like, literally just, like, fold from one point entirely and just go away. Dragons... Oh boy. Dragons have to have multi-part wings for sure. Which is gonna make them significantly more complicated. Let me just make a list here. There we go. Okay. So, we want dragon wings, definitely. We want feathered wings, angel wings, whatever you want to call them, really. We want bat wings, which I guess you can call the demon wings, or whatnot. Or maybe demon wings are like bat wings, but pointier. I don't know. We'll put that in anyways. We're gonna want... What other kinds of wings are there? In nature today, it's mostly feathered wings. Not gonna lie there. Let's see, we want dragonfly. We could maybe think of a ladybug. There's an idea. So it's just like a shell on the back and that opens up. That's fairly doable. Ladybug or beetle, I guess. We do want to have the witch wings as a thing. Suggestions for wings. Yes, Dusty, question. What is question? A sentence worded or expressed so as to elicit information. Ah, that's what is question. Do the witch's wings like have weird otherware magic feathers, or what? Like what's they resemble raven feathers a lot, but made out of void, effectively. Or at least that's how I describe them. I definitely have a Tumblr post somewhere that describes them in greater detail. I'm just looking up fantasy wings to see what other things we could potentially add. In theory, there is a wide variety of, like, butterfly wings to make, a wide variety of different, like, bird wings to make, but we can't really afford to spend that much time going through the whole thing. I'm neither a Lepidopterist nor a birder, I guess? I don't know. So I don't have the time to be making every single thing. So I more or less just have to make these by archetype. Full-time wing mod developer? Oh lord. Please no. Let's have a quick look at things that people will suggest are the standard. So... let's see, what is the variety from the Flugel Tiara? The one wing, the angel, butterfly, red wing, that's basically just that, but extra. Demon, yep. There's the ones that are just straight up from an anime, apparently. These ones, which are just like golden medal, I think. And I think that's also an anime, probably. If I just Google anime wings, would that be sufficient? How much of this is just gonna be Sephiroth? Surprisingly little. Surprisingly little. Okay. Good to know. That's actually a really decent variety up here. Huh. Crystal wings, leaf wings. Oh, that's getting into more like the Fey territory. That's more like very specialized. Oh, there's an idea. Like between 2 and 3, say, pairs of wings. Or feathered wings. That's getting straight into biblical angel kind of territory right there. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna put angels into that. There's like a special kind of I think this is almost exclusively an anime thing. Wings, which are basically angel wings, but they're mounted on the pelvis. And let me tell you, you're going nowhere. You are not flying if your wings are attached to your pelvis, because the pelvis is basically the bottom the bottom of the heaviest chunk of body, which means that the wings are mounted behind the center of mass. So the only place that you're going if you're trying to fly with wings mounted to your pelvis is straight forwards and down. Butt over tea kettle. Yeah, it does appear to be main. Apparently, anime just focuses very heavily on. Oh, it looks like a fun anime. Just focuses very heavily on like winged. Oh hey, yep, there is exactly what I was talking about. Like your legs aren't a light object, but your center of mass is above your pelvis. Your center of gravity is above there. So just like, I'm gonna say her center of gravity is somewhere around here, but your center of lift is here. So the second that you go, the second that you are even so much as tilting anywhere but straight up, you're going straight over. These look like Nightcore covers? Probably. Probably. Just happens to be how things go. Yeah, I think we've gotten like most of. I think this list covers most of the things. I guess we should have changeling wings as well. If we got the witch wings, we might as well have the changelings as well. Let's see, monster wings. That gonna get us anything else that we haven't already thought of. Not dreadfully. Apparently, monster wings is a brand name. I didn't know that. Phoenix wings, more of a variation. I guess the main variation there would be just that they glow in the dark. That's the only thing that comes to mind. Which is not an impossible thing to do. If you ever need to remember how to spell Phoenix, by the way, I always think of my partner, Firebird of Fire, and go Phoenix. Because if I describe them as that, they'll want to kill me, making them my foe. Would energy wings, I guess? The question is, what do we shape energy wings like? It's like, obviously they're dyeable, of course, but it's like, okay, they're literally energy and their main thing is they glow in the dark. What do they look like? At that point, are we just replicating an anime? Or are we just replicating, the angels from Diablo? It's like, okay, at that point, Elemental wing sandbox? Yeah, I guess. Just like, there is no, at that point, you're not using, those wings are not actually serving flight purposes, because energy does not allow you to fly. You're not going to be able to glide or create lift off of energy. So there is no mechanical idea for how these things function, and certainly no real-world reference. I'll put them on the list then. I said I'm not a lepidopterist, and here I am ranting about how wings do and do not work. But oh well. suppose there's also a theoretical category for things which allow you to fly but which are not wings. In which case, I guess I include jetpacks, but that's... I feel like people would be dismayed if the flapping mechanic of my flight ability was used for a jetpack. When people think jetpack, they think much more stable, much more control. That kind of thing. Anyways, I'm not really seeing too much here that we haven't already done. I haven't already got on the list. Why is your mind going to scale/feathery of a scale/feathery dragon? Where is her dragon form? Scale wings, crystal wings. Scale wings is really just going back to dragons, I think. And what we're trying to do here, because I cannot possibly implement every single possible variation of wing, is we're just trying to get the broad archetypes. And then everybody can headcanon what their character specifically looks like, or otherwise color the wings to whatever they like to be precise. Search up feathered dragon. She's right here. It's Kanna-chan. Okay, am I gonna regret this? Dusty? Okay, yeah. They are essential. Oh no, look, there we go. An actual feathered dragon. There we go. They're cute. Yes, I agree. She's very cute. Yeah, it's... I mean, there's this, which is getting back to biblical angel. I don't know how you feed the blood supply through that, but, you know. It's there. It's there. Never mind, it's from Dragon Rider, where the dragon has scales and feathers for body and wings. Okay. Dragon Rider. Oh lord. Apparently that's the name of a coming soon animated flick that looks horrifying. Sky Original. Oh, I'm not surprised suddenly. Wait, I feel like I recognize this guy. Don't recognize this movie at all, but that looks familiar. It's magic, they don't have blood. Fair. At that point, you're just powered by divine spite against physics. God, is there anything else? Another thing that we can do, real quick, is put in some actual mix-in so that when you are wearing wings, or have wings in any part, that are visible and have an elytra in your back slot, then the elytra doesn't render. Which would then mean that we can actually have wings and elytra and fly without them massively clipping into one another. Quetzalcoatl? Lucawacan? Let's see. Miss Kobayashi's dragon made aesthetic, really? I mean, she's definitely a look. And for a lot of people, she's actually transition goals. But, yeah, I don't know. Her actual dragon form is basically just a massive winding dragon. Like, it's just basically a massive serpent. Which I don't think I can get a picture of, because it's always bigger than the screen to emphasize her scale. Yes, chat, very much. That is a recurring feature of the dragons in this series. But I promise it has a really adorable plot, and is worth watching. Oh yeah, there we go. So she does actually have wings. Judging by that, they're just like ridiculous. They're literally like strips of paper. Which I guess is getting back to the anime. Which of these? I have no idea. Wings of Sylph. There they are. Yeah, origami wings. That's a good way to describe them. But yeah, they're a bit closer to this than that. And I don't know if I want to do Alfheim, because I don't necessarily want to tie any part of my mods to Sword Art Online of all things. Aragon? Okay, Aragon Dragon, let's see. I can kind of make it out there. Yeah, I can sort of, like, scale feathers, as I see, yeah. Those would hurt like hell to lose. There's a fault. Birds lose feathers all of the time, but scales require a lot of blood flow, which implies a lot of nerve endings, which implies a lot of pain. Oof. Yeah, that'd just be unpleasant right there. Ow. Like, imagine losing, imagine like brushing a tree line, and you lose like 4 fingernails. That's kind of the amount of pain you're thinking of. But that's actually all that wings are, for the most part, is they're actually just like modified hands, which is the reason we don't tend to actually see dragons is partially because wyverns are more possible with like 2 legs and 2 wings, because most of the morphology of Earth, at the very least, goes back to 4-limbed creatures. So anything that descends from that, it's just cheaper to reuse a limb than it is to grow a new one. The movie was fine before I read the book, then I read the book. Yeah. There's a lot of adaptations like that. But yeah, I do see what you mean. God, there's actually spines coming through that as well. That would be so... Damage to that wing would be horrible. Oof. Yeah, bat wings are fairly straightforward. They get the same problem we have of how do we model these? I don't know why this part exists, but apparently I'm gonna take a wild guess this image exists because of Pokemon. Oh, there's an idea. Winged OC. Will that give me some other ideas? I mean, there's trans flag wing, pride wing OCs. Certain idea. The next question is, how far do I have to scroll before I hit Tommy in it? Because the answer on Twitter is not very far. Or I guess either Tommy in it or Filza, I think. Those are the tags that I see on artwork quite frequently. Oh, there it is. More likely to get Grian? Well, I hit Filza and all these weirdos first. So, plainly not. My Little Pony. Honestly, it feels weird to say, but the wings of My Little Pony are the exact problem I have. when it comes to modeling wings. Because they're just like neatly tucked away there. They're just like chilling along the side. But they have wingspan, my dudes. Like, they have substantial wingspan. How do I go from A to B here? Answer is it's really hard. Unless you have like a texture that actually flexes. And that is... yeah, I'm not seeing anything that I don't think isn't covered already. So I think we're good. I think we've distilled wings in Minecraft to their barest essentials. So that's what we'll be working on for a little bit whilst I work on possession in the background and whatnot. And you will see me probably screaming quite a bit because this is a challenge. Everything else, by comparison, straightforward. Anyways. The next stream I have is on Thursday with the Little Madness crew, playing either Among Us or Sea of Thieves. If it's Among Us this week, I'd like to try and get some proximity chat in, so look out for that. Really depends on how many people are available at the time. Then on Saturday, we have the Carousel, playing some random games with the patrons, and talking about the most recent episode of Clockwork in Memory, which, fingers crossed, should be out this week. We'll see. And then I'll be back on Tuesday for some more wingies. Meanwhile, any videos I do like that episode are over at youtube.com/RumorComic, and everything I do, including the drugs I take, is powered by you at patreon.com/lying. Hope you've all enjoyed, and I shall, as ever, catch you all next time. I have squats to do. Dang it! Oh boy. Just remembered that.